from the friend zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Views from the friend zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Yeah. Welcome to another edition of the Views from the Friend Zone podcast. It's your boy Real Talk Marv, who I got in the building with me.
It's Amanda, a.k.a. Greedy Gut. Right now, my voice sounds like I've been smoking for years.
How about our lovely guest?
I'm Tasha Nicole Wright, one half of the Realist Radio Show.
And I'm Melissa Noriega, the other half of the Realist Radio Show.
Yes, thank you guys for being a guest. Real quick, if you can give our audience a little description about your show and where they can find you.
Well, the Realist Radio Show, basically, you can find the show on pregameradio.net. Let's start there. They have a dope website. But the Realist Radio is basically mostly about music, throwback music, new music, upcoming artists, and things like that. Even business owners. We have people who have one of our sponsors, V for Veg. She has an awesome infused lube and toys and things like that.
Did you say lube?
Yes, lube.
So when you say it's infused, is it like cannabis oil infused?
Infused.
Wow,
all
so
natural.
getting high through the vagina and
Yes.
the penis.
Yes.
That sounds like a
Wait a
turn
minute,
up
could
for
we
real.
get high through the vagina, lady?
Yes,
Yes, it's an organ. Hello.
You got nerves? There you go.
Yes,
Go
it's-
right on to the bloodstream.
I heard you could get high through the anus too, but okay.
See, well, she might have something for that on there
Wow.
too. It's vforveg.com. And then on top
I'm gonna
of
need
that,
her information. I might have to have her come up on the show and discuss more about those kind of
You
things.
can talk like
yes, definitely.
Because, we're not a sex-oriented show, but sex is a big part of people's
Yeah.
lives, and we like to
absolutely.
discuss it. And
Right.
we like to educate people so that, we're not out here making crazy mistakes when we have information.
Right.
Exactly, and that's the other thing. V for Veg, when you go to their site, it's also sex education. Like for between the younger ones who are active, which I wish you guys weren't, but you are, teenagers, even adults who don't know, what to do or what to look for and things like. It's all there, and she
Especially
uses.
with the cannabis and stuff. Like, to me, growing up, it was such a taboo.
Yeah.
I didn't smoke weed and stuff like that. And then I still don't smoke weed, but now with it becoming legal as far as the cannabis use in certain capacities, I'm more open-minded about it. But now I feel like I'm an old dude trying to learn about stuff I should have learned about when I was younger.
They
It's
got
never too late to
edibles
learn.
and stuff now, though. You don't necessarily have to roll up and light it. You can always eat a
Now
brownie.
there's candies and
TCH.
stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I've tried the candies and I've had good experiences. So, like I said, it's still getting that information.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I want to give her a chance to introduce herself as well.
Hey, y'all. I'm Melissa Noriega. And, the Realist Radio Show is a really good platform for, I would like to say, for up-and-coming artists, because we support independent artists. We know how hard it is in the music industry to be heard. And so we give that platform to those who want to be heard. And, we support all the artists that, that do reach out to us.
And even though we're not a music-based show, I do try to support artists who are great and don't have the exposure that I need. I tell them,
Right.
come on, do the interview with them. Because I always tell them, okay, we may not be Power 105 or whatever, but it's good to have different interviews in your portfolio to show people you can handle that kind of PR. So that's a
Right.
good thing. I was actually at an artist who was on our show previous called Samad Savage, who dropped a project Friday called The Gray Area. Very dope project. I went to his concert, and it's like, he's a young artist, but he's so developed. His sound is so great, and I feel like I'm rocking with someone. I'm rocking like with Kendrick Lamar before he's really got blown up, kind of thing. Someone that dope, he's just waiting for his chance. So I definitely support the kind of things you guys are doing.
Right. And I mean, and also, like Tasha said, small business owners, whatever you have that you want to, expose out, we're more than happy to
I'm
do
coming
so.
on the show, ladies.
Yes.
Oh, hey,
See?
come on.
There you go.
We'll get your information.
Yes,
And we're
yes.
going to talk.
Yeah. And that's another beautiful thing I like, as people of color to cross brand, to cross promote, and I hop on other people's shows, people hop on my shows, kind of thing, and continue that growing. Like create a platform and a network. I feel a lot of times when we have something to promote, we don't have a network, or like even before we have that big advertising budget, it's that self-promoting, is getting with like-minded people. So that's a beautiful thing. That's why I like to cross work with people, cross network and stuff. So that's a beautiful thing.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Since you guys are centered around music, before we jump into the show, I want to do a quick little discussion or opinion kind of thing. So Drake dropped Scorpion on Friday.
I knew you were gonna say something about
right?
Drake. I knew it.
And I, we're not gonna make it a review of Drake kind of show, but I definitely feel, because I feel like this record was so, he had a hard side and he had a soft side, and even though I'm more of a hip hop person, I feel like the soft side was better. So I feel like side 2, which had a lot of the features with Michael Jackson and the soft, I think my favorite track on the album, something called like In My Feelings or something like, it was a track like that was kind of dope. So anyway, my opinion on the record is he did not address Pusha T like he should have. The mentions of his child was like, I didn't hide my child from the world, I hide the world from my child, which had the internet going crazy. Some people was like, well, I didn't hide the fact that I was married, or I didn't hide the fact my wife from social media. I hid social media from my wife, or different kind of things. I hide my bills. So it just kind of go crazy. So did you get a chance to hear it?
I listened to it yesterday for the first time. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm a lover of Drake. He can do no wrong in my eyes. Yeah. Okay.
He can do wrong, but I'm a Drake fan too.
But I feel as though, everybody's different with social media. He doesn't have to expose his child if he didn't want to. Right. I also feel that the whole Pusha T thing and Drake was staged. Maybe this was something.
I don't think it was staged.
I feel like
they haven't liked
staged.
each other for a long time.
That I do know, but I don't know. All of a sudden, he drops the album right now.
Well, this was already scheduled.
Like he just drops it right now, and then he explains about his child and stuff like that.
To be honest with you, I felt he didn't address the child issue enough.
That's because that's what we want. That's
because
not
it's
what
like
he
22.
wants.
It's 22, 24 records, and then he mentioned it in passing, like one or two.
He doesn't have to explain himself about his personal life. Yeah. So
another thing I want to say is, like, people are so shocked, like, oh, he had, like, I researched Sophia Broussard, a.k.a. Rosie, or whatever her name is. Yeah. She doesn't have any real porn. She just has spicy individual pictures showing her booty and stuff like that.
Have that? There is
in this day and age
out there
exactly.
There's stuff hanging out than none. So it's like more common to not find stuff. I mean, not as common to not find stuff on the internet, opposed to finding something on the internet.
Because we have even established artists, both music and not. How many crazy pictures of Rihanna we have out there? How many crazy pictures of other
beautiful
people?
pictures of
Yeah,
Rihanna.
but I'm saying, so it's just like the nudity.
I love Rihanna.
And not to get political, look at our first lady, our current first lady, not the first lady we acknowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So
ex-porn star.
Before we get into the show, though, I'd like to have your opinion on the album, what y'all thought so far.
Well, okay, there was one song I heard was what song was it? Okay, that song. It was too slow for me. I couldn't really get into it. It kind of almost put me to sleep. But I'm one of those people that I'm not really into anything on the radio right now. Like, it has to be referred to me. Like, no, Tasha, you really have to hear this song. I'm more into the local artists and the throwbacks, like what I know people are into and want to hear.
So you're technically in that almost old head box. Even if your age is not there, that's the attitude we're getting when we're not receptive to what's going on.
Me, I'm a refer a song kind of girl. As if you run me down all these new, Migos and all this other. Honestly, when I heard Migos, I really thought it was the three amigos from back in the days. So it was like, no, these are like, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I looked them up, and it was like, okay, well, they're not even doing the theme of the Migos. I'm not interested. So it was it's just like that. And not to mention, I think who really messed it up for me listening to anything on the radio right now was like,
she said mess it up. Damn.
Completely Young Thug or one of them. from back in the day, I turned it on and it sounded like somebody was screaming and having a fit and
I mean,
banging.
his biggest
and
thing. I'm not,
Are you sure it was
not my
y'all lied to
lifestyle.
that?
I didn't even
Yeah,
understand it.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh, lifestyle. That's
Yeah,
all.
that was the beginning of me not turning the radio on no more. So,
I think
was
Little
the
Yachty
start
ruined
of
it
the
for me.
mumble, huh?
Little
Was
Yachty,
it?
like, bubble gum, da 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 da. Like,
I come from an era where artists have an in-depth vocabulary. So when I hear the music that's out now, it's like I'm dumbing myself down
Damn.
to enjoy it.
Wow.
No, it's not every song.
No,
it's
yeah.
just a big amount of the music now. I can't. I can't. It's like racket.
I want to get Alyssa's opinion before we jump into the show. So what did you think about
Okay, so here's the
Scorpion?
thing, right? So here's the thing. I did not listen to Scorpion. Okay, got to be honest. But what I can say is I do agree with Tasha. I'm set on who I want to listen to. You know, I like R&B a lot. Maybe a little bit of hip hop here and there. But as far as like Drake is concerned, I don't listen to Drake like that. But what I can say when I look at with my friends and how they, because you know everybody gives their own review. I want to say about 70% of my friends list, when they said something about Drake, they referred to him as Aubrey. And they were like, Aubrey's album is okay.
This is definitely an Aubrey Graham album. This is not
It's an
a
Aubrey.
Drake.
It's not
I
Drake.
still love him. It's
And the
okay.
thing about it is, it's just like sometimes you'll hear a hard track from Drake and you get excited.
Right.
But when you go to the album, none of that's there. I think he does it enough to make sure that, you know, his music is geared towards the women, but he wants the fellas to be like, yeah, this joint was my record kind of thing.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, Scorpion, if I had to give it like a out of 10, I would give it like a 8.
Okay, that's
You
not
know?
bad.
Yeah.
It's
It's
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
average.
No, it's pretty good as far as if you want that soft stuff. But if you was expecting like hard, like, you know, I'm upset kind of thing, it's not really
hard,
there.
I'm upset.
So let's get into the show. We did enough of the music review. Someone told me like you got to talk about Scorpion, and I'm just like, you know, since you guys do, you know, listen to music, I was just like, I'll have a quick discussion about it. So the first topic before we begin, I got to give a shout out to Sensei. Today's his birthday. So
Happy birthday,
happy birthday,
Mike.
Sensei.
Birthday.
He's one of our, you know, co-hosts, and he, you know, it was his birthday. He's hanging out with the family, so he couldn't make it. So happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? All you cancer season is upon us. You guys are petty as hell, so be ready for a petty ass month. And a petty beginning to the summer. All right? So we're gonna jump into our regular, you know, format of the show.
All right.
And the first topic we're gonna talk about is ego versus insecurity, right? Because they say a man's, you know, what can ruin a relationship is a man's ego, and what can ruin a relationship is a woman's insecurity, right? And, you know, that's opinion. But I feel like, you know, men move heavy on regarding their ego. And I feel like a woman will make moves or do things that are questionable due to insecurity, right?
Right.
So the first sub-question of the topic, ego versus insecurity, is what contributes more to the demise of a relationship, a man's ego or a woman's insecurity? I usually go ladies first, but I'm with a lady full panel, so we're going to have the guests go first.
Estrogen.
All right? I'm ready to handle all the punches and give my opinion. So we'll start with you, Alyssa, and then we'll go this way.
Okay, so in my experience, because I'm single, but in my opinion, I do feel like, all right, a man is already set on what they want in a relationship, I believe. And I do think that a woman's insecurity plays a part in the relationship. We kind of are able to steer the relationship in where it should go. And the insecurity aspect of it, like, of course, we have to check ourselves when it comes to insecurity. Not saying that we should not have them, but we should learn how to approach our significant other when it comes to the insecurity, because it's also in the approach. Okay. We can't always be like, oh, you did this, you did that, because they feel that their woman friend is too close to the man or whatever the case is, you know, just as an example. But, you know, it is in the approach. Not saying you should not have an insecurity, because we all do, but it's just the approach in it, and it does steer the relationship.
So just to make sure, you feel like a woman's security will have more towards the demise of a relationship than a man's ego?
I do believe so.
Okay. What about you, Tasha?
I kind of think it's kind of 50-50. It depends.
We could always 50-50 is the vanilla. You
Yeah,
know, you're
that's
not really
vanilla
choosing a side.
chocolate.
I need you to choose
Yeah,
a
but
side.
'cause
Either
I've
be
been-
wrong or right,
Right, but
left
I've
or
been
right.
on both sides of it. Like, I've been in a relationship where it was my ego and his insecurity, and the other way around, where it was his ego and my insecurity. Majority of the time for me, it was more of the ego, because I don't really do the insecurity thing. I might get annoyed, but I don't really like go claws in or whatever. So it's more like, I don't know. For me, it's 50-50. It really depends on the relationship and the individual and stuff like that, because I've had people around me with super big egos, and that just doesn't register with me. The whole no, it's just like normal conversation. If you're frustrated about something, talk to me about it, and vice versa. I'm gonna talk to you about it, and it is what it is. Either we agree or agree to disagree and move on. Like, for me, I don't know. I don't stay there, so I don't. It's like the insecurity and the ego thing doesn't really work with me. To me, that's like a tantrum on either side. So I'm just not with it.
What about you, Amanda?
I'm a 50-50 person, but I will say that I feel that insecurity could bring down a relationship. It's almost like self-sabotage, and you can fuck up the whole relationship being insecure. But I also feel like if you're that insecure, you shouldn't be in a relationship. You have to work on yourself before you jump in.
I am kind of shocked. I was, expecting it to be more like.
You was expecting
Male
women to say
bashing.
ego.
Not male bashing, but I was like, it's his ego, this, that, and another. But I really appreciate the response. The reason why, obviously, I'm going to go with insecurity, but the reason why I say that, in my opinion, right, because I feel like ego is self-defined, where insecurity is how you react to kind of certain things, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like when you get involved with someone and they have an ego, you kind of already knew that. You kind of already was presented that. Insecurity is more like how you reacting to certain things that are out there. And men are insecure as well. But
yes, they are.
I feel
Don't
like
get it twisted.
I feel like men operate so much on ego, and they try to like stick to certain grounds kind of thing, whereas just like a lot of times women into relationships, and they kind of accepted certain things in the beginning, and then they felt like once they got their man in their, I don't want to say claws, but like in their possession, now they was going to change him. And when he doesn't, then the insecurity comes around like, well, you don't do things that make me feel secure. You don't do things to make me feel that other people know that I'm your
I feel
woman.
like that's a woman's job or a person's job in general. I'm not going to look to a guy to make me feel secure in anything. I'm secure within myself. Therefore, I'll be secure within the relationship.
Yeah. And I think, ego sometimes drives us to like stick to our guns and kind of draw our line in the sand, where insecurity is just sort of like, I accepted certain things, but now I'm not comfortable.
Okay.
And I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make in the beginning of relationships is like accepting certain things and expecting it to change. I feel like all the BS you find out in the beginning, understand it never gets better. It kind of gets worse. So if that was bothering you in the beginning and you let it rock, you left a precedent for other bad things to happen.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, I would like to say, if I may.
Sure.
I gotta drop the bomb to the people.
Let's go. Drop the
Okay,
ball.
I gotta drop
Preach,
the bomb.
sister, preach.
Women, hear ye. We cannot change a man.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Church, you hear me, church? We cannot change a man. And I learned this the hard way.
Yes.
To
So have I, growing up.
okay, hello. We can't.
I totally agree with you. I'm going to let you finish the point. But one of the models that I continue to say is a man meets a woman and he says, wow, she's dope. I hope she never changed. And a woman meets a man like, he's good, but I can make him better.
Right.
And that philosophy causes so much turmoil as things get worse, because men aren't really, I know it sounds bad, we're not really going to get better. We're going to get worse. For the most part.
Damn.
Punching the
No, I mean we can learn to give up certain ways. Like we can stop, I'm not a hoe no more kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if I wasn't a certain way kind of thing, like the Andrew called I'm not gay no more. I like to say I'm not a hoe no more. I'm not a thought no more kind of thing. We could change those kind of things. But I don't think men will actually, completely grow in the way that a woman wants to until he's ready.
Ready.
You're not
exactly.
going to
with
make
that.
that happen.
Exactly.
I have to make that happen.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
And I do agree, because women are so quick to try to change somebody because they have the potential, and it's not even about that. Because when a man meets you, he's gonna see your dopeness. He's gonna see that you're great, and then it's like, all right, so what can we do together to kind of like grow, instead of you just being great and being yourself and expressing your dopeness the best way you know how. You try to change them, and that's not what you should do. It's up to the man to say, you know what, she's so dope. You know what, I want to make her wifey. I want to stop my hoish
Do you agree with that? Because I agree.
And thought bopping for her because she's
Thought
just that.
bopping.
Right.
Yeah, because she's just that dope.
But it's
You
like,
know?
it's like meeting somebody like me. I like tap into stuff. Like when I was single, or when I've had my single moments, for me to date someone, it had nothing to do with anything other than where our minds went, like creativity or even business or whatever. So I never go into anything trying to change anyone. I go into it more like, what can we change together? Like, what can we do
together?
Right, to build with whatever. Because if he likes this or he likes that and I don't like it, it's just more like, okay, so how can we turn that into like a business, though? Because I don't like it, but we can make some money off it.
Yeah. See, and that's a dope mentality to have. You know, relationship is about in what direction can we grow in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like to get to learn you, get to know you, we learn each other instead of trying to change each other. We bring it together and make it better.
If you're in a relationship and you have to look for things, you got to start writing down to-do list in your relationship, like changing one. Like, I don't like how he wears his hair. I'm going to try to get him to change his hair. I don't like them sneakers that he be wearing, or I don't like this. Then don't even waste it.
Like, if you're not feeling his style, you can make suggestions to it, but you're not going to change him.
Exactly.
You're not going to get a guy who dressed like these, you know, Young Thug is an extreme example because he cross-dresses. But you're not going to get these skinny jeans type dude to be like a button-up, you know, well-dressed person until he's ready to make that transition.
Exactly. The best you could do is present a situation like, hey, black tie event, want to go?
Yeah. All right, so the next question on this topic is, does a man's ego causes a woman's insecurity?
Well, like I said before, it's within yourself. Like, nobody right now in my life is ever going to make me feel insecure. It's all in your mind. It's all inside of you. I mean, that's for me. Like,
what do you think? Does a
Yeah,
man's
it
ego?
depends on the individual. If you have strong will, strong mind, and you know how to understand things, nothing like that. It won't happen to you like that. But you got certain individuals, just the littlest thing gets them on edge, and oh my God, and life is gonna end now. And for it's different depending on the person.
Yep.
I agree. It does depend on the person and how strong the person is, because a man can create an insecurity.
Can you give us an example? I mean, I know of some, but I mean, for the viewers.
Yeah, so like a man's ego, right? It's a strong, powerful thing. And, you know, sometimes that ego, for example, he's in the music industry. He coexists with beautiful women. But if you don't find yourself beautiful because of his ego, like that would kind of...
Then it's always going to be like, who's that girl when he's not answering the
she
phone?
She look better than me, like, and this, that, and that. You start nitpicking, and then it starts to create this insecurity, like, oh, well, maybe he has these beautiful women around him because, not for business purposes, but because maybe that's what he wants around. That's what he wants to be seen in the public with all these beautiful women, but yet he has me, and he hardly goes out. He only goes out with me 6 times a week, and he's only with them 7 times a week. So,
damn, if he goes out with you 6 times a week and you still got problems,
I'm exaggerating.
you don't want a man, you want a parole officer. You know what I'm saying?
I'm exaggerating, but I mean, you know,
we get it though.
But you get what I'm saying. So that would create, but it's up to, like, you have to build yourself up first and love yourself before you can be with somebody, love somebody, you know, and that's just the bottom line.
Yeah. I say this, I don't think a man's ego causes a woman's insecurity, but I also think our ego might cause us to move certain ways that creates insecurity. Like, I know, for instance, one of the biggest transitions of when I first got married, it was just like having to explain to someone where I'm going to be at when I was moving the way I wanted to move for such a long time.
But do you really have to explain, or you just say, honey, I'm going to
It's a courtesy.
Tonight.
It's a courtesy.
There's a difference between explaining.
But your ego, a man's ego be like, I'm a grown ass man.
Right.
I told you I'm gonna be out and I'll be home when I want to be home.
Right. So,
which will create an insecurity, and then you kind of realize like, yo, you can operate with that ego, but so long, but you're gonna be bumping heads for so much. You get to the point where it's just like, look, I'm gonna be at such and such. This person's gonna be here. This person's gonna be here, and it gives you less of a headache.
I have this saying. It's called "just give someone peace of mind." It's not about being
saying.
like me. I'm a grown ass woman. At the end of the day, I don't have to tell nobody nothing. I mean, I'm grown. My mama don't even ask me certain things anymore because I'm grown. So I literally walk around where I don't have to tell you nothing.
Right.
But out of respect in my relationship, no matter what it is, hey, babe, I'm going over here or I'm doing this or whatever, peace of mind. And I'm always available to answer the phone call, even if I don't call him in 2 or 3 hours because I'm gone. My line's always open if he wants to call, or if I'm like, now we're live or whatever. If I get a call, hey, I have to talk to you later. I'm on air, whatever. But that whole mandatory, I got to tell you this or mandatory that, that's a no. Me, I'm a worrier. So if I don't hear from like my guy, I'm not personally thinking, oh, he's laid up with somebody. See, my mind don't go there because I'm not going to date someone I don't trust.
Basically.
So I'm
But you want to make sure he's okay because it's crazy for men of color or men in period out here in these streets.
Right.
You know?
Just
especially with how the knuckleheads, which makes me think about it is just like, at time I could say my ego, like I said, when I first was married and getting a relationship, I didn't feel like I need to explain. Or I'm still hanging out with the same people I was hanging out with before. But the problem was, I'm one of those dudes who have a lot of female friends. And I one of the first things I did before even me and my wife were like deep in a relationship, I took her to a dinner where all the female friends were there. All the women friends were there, right?
Good idea.
And I introduced her to. So now when I speak, I don't want to say all the names, but when I speak about A, B, C, D, E, you've seen A, B, C, D, E. But the problem was, it was cool. But once I put the ring on it, now she had a little more possession in me. Now I can't hang out with A, B, C, or D anymore. Why do you need to hang out with them? Especially because I would hang out with groups or I would hang out with one person one-on-one kind of thing. And she never felt that they gave her any inclinations that, they was scheming on me per se, but she's just like, the image of a married man hanging out with a woman, going to the movies or going to et cetera, is not a good image.
Would you ladies have a problem with that?
Well, going to the movies is kind of intimate, but if it's like a business dinner, a meeting or something, I'm actually okay with that.
What if it's a catch-up dinner? Like, oh, how's your life? How's this? Is that okay?
They got Facebook for that. If it's business, that's
so
fine.
your man can have a female. Your man can have. I hate to say female because I always get
if it's
crap for it. Your man can have a woman best friend or a woman bestie.
He absolutely can.
But they can't go to the movies.
Hey, we throw barbecues all the time. Come through, catch up. It's fine if I see them sitting over there and we over there, but it's cool. That's no. Intimate situations are no. If it's about business or, hey, listen, we're going to talk about go ahead. Obviously, you don't want to be sitting around me and maybe my cousin or whatever. Y'all talk your business. Go ahead, do your thing. But for anything pertaining to intimacy, that is a hell.
I don't think the
I
movies
have a
is
question
intimate.
for you, though.
Yeah.
Would it matter to you if your wife had tons of male
I knew
friends?
you was going to say that.
You
The problem,
it.
I know.
People church.
And then you know what?
Yeah, I'm about to.
And it's always a double standard, right? It's always a double standard and stuff like that.
Unfortunately, it is.
My thing about it was, if I would have met my wife with a lot of male friends, I would have kind of vetted it, and I would have kind of established my comfort level was there. Now, for her, it's tough for me to answer this because she don't have male friends, and now all of a sudden she have a lot of male friends. It'd be weird to me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And plus, let's keep it honest. Even though it works both ways, men are more predatory than women.
I knew
are.
that was coming too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like men more. The title of this show is Views from the Friend Zone because I've been predatory, towards women, stuff like that. But I've known situations where I was trying to spit game and I somehow or the other wound up in the friend zone. So I know a lot of men operate in this friend zone thinking that one day, they're gonna be like Chris Rock said, the dick in the glass jar. That you beefing with your man and he gonna get called up.
But it goes both ways. Women know that by friend zoning that guy, he's basically in the back of that black book whenever she's ready.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
even if he has a wife, she already he been tried to holler. I could have had him at any time. He's still around, even though he's married. So, and now he's wanted. Like somebody really took him. Really?
Yeah, and that's one of the things my wife says. Like, even though she's met all my female, I keep saying female, sorry, all my women friend, she's just like, it's a different element once they know that someone saw enough in you to make a husband, and now that they don't have no husbands, maybe now you're a little bit more marketable. You know what I'm saying, or a little more valuable in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So the last question on this topic I have is: what is easier to repair, a man's damaged ego or a woman's trust?
I have a question. What could damage a man's ego to you?
I mean, it varies in different men, right? So
I know that's what I'm asking you. Like,
so for instance, some men put a lot of stake in quote unquote being the best lover ever, or
That's
the
the
most,
first thing
or
I
the
thought
most
about.
endowed, right?
Yeah.
So then your woman could be like, I love what we got, but what Tyrone used to give me is
That's
something
a mistake,
else.
But that's
You know what I'm
foul. You don't.
But
do
it
that.
can happen.
So
It can happen.
foul.
And in the heat of the moment, sometimes things are said to hurt people. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah, it's messed up.
or a woman could be like, you're okay in bed, but what such and such did. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a man if you tie a lot of your value in what you do in the bedroom, then that's going to hurt. To me, that's gonna be a little I'm gonna feel away, but I'm the type of person I'm not going to lose a battle over something like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well,
Okay.
Tyrone also was a bum ass dude who's in jail now, so go find Tyrone. Like I would, you know what I'm saying? That'll be my combatant kind of thing.
But
Why everybody
even go
always use
there?
Tyrone? But
Because of the Erykah Badu song.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Tyrone has become like
Can't use my
the guy who
phone.
can lay it down but don't got shit together.
Can't
you
use
could have
my
said
phone.
John or something.
Tyrone came to my head first. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
So with that being said, all right. So what's the question again?
So the question was, what's easier to repair? A man's damaged ego or a woman's trust?
I think a man's damaged ego, because trust is the hardest thing. I've been cheated on before, and I thought I forgave my ex-boyfriend, but I just kept on bringing it up. I couldn't do it.
And I think
I
to be
couldn't bring-
honest
I
with you,
couldn't
that's
bring that
what
trust
kills.
back.
That's what kills relationships as far as when the trust is gone, right?
Yeah, when the trust is gone, I'm done. I don't even
Because-
think that's repairable for me.
Like to me, and I always say that, and people say your friend stuff like the act of the person cheating on you, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a one-time thing, sometimes it's quick and stuff like that, and it's a hurt. But it's the not having some kind of resolve or resolution to it, the always bringing it up, it's like almost impossible to
Yeah,
get
because
past.
it's like, why forgive if you're gonna keep bringing it up?
Yeah.
But it was just eating me on the inside, and there was nothing he could do to repair our trust. So I'm definitely gonna
Which
say
hurts,
that.
which hurts.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What's easier to repair, a man's ego or a woman's trust?
Well, I personally wouldn't destroy a man's ego like that to have to repair it. Right. But I mean, I would say it would be easier to restore a man's ego because trust is really hard to get back, especially when it's tarnished to its max. Yep. Like you have people who make one mistake against people who make 100 mistakes. So if you trust them through 100 mistakes and you lost that trust, there's definitely no getting it back. But one mistake, you might lose a little trust, and then you might work on it, and he may fix it. And all right, I can trust you again if he doesn't mess up again. So again, it really depends with me.
I think another thing, because I want your answer as well. Another thing is, not all violations of trust are equal.
Right, that's
You know
true.
what I'm saying? So
That
it's
is
just
true.
like sometimes it could have been a violation of trust because you did cheat, or sometimes it's you hid something that's huge, kind of thing. So I think that also comes into play as well. Like to me, a bruised ego is just like whatever. The reason why I feel like a woman's trust is way harder than the bruised ego is because ego is self-reflection, right? So I feel like you can play me, like even me being a big dude. Sometimes a woman be like, "Well, I don't like you because you big or whatever," and I'd be like, "Cool, I can't force you to. I can't force myself to be your cup of tea, so that wouldn't bruise my ego and stuff like that." Like if a woman's like, "Yeah, you big, black, and ugly," I'm like, "I'll take the two of those things. Ugly's not one of them, so I'm not taking." You know what I'm saying? Like ego is how you is what you can answer to.
Right.
The trusting is difficult, right? Because it's just like. One of the worst things you do when you violate someone's trust is now they just see you completely different. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like all the things you earned is now out of the table. And that's what hurts. Like people, I always tell people like, if my wife cheated on me, could I stay with her? and I'd be like, it depends, like, what caused the cheating on. Like, I knew I was out here being dirty. I was ignoring her. She's like, baby, I want some time. I said no, and I was just really foul. And even I know I was out there in these streets, and then she cheated. It'd be a wake-up call like, yo, you was slipping. So you gotta hold that L, and then I would work it out. Now, if I know I'm just being good, I'm always asking her, babe, what can we do? I want to make love to you. She's ignoring me. She's not giving me none. And then I find out she's sleeping with Tyrone. You know what I'm saying? Then I don't know if I could.
Or John.
Right.
No.
Or John. Then I don't know if I could, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I held up my end of the bargain.
Right. It's like the communication part. As long as there is some communication, like, listen, I'm not happy, you know, this, that, and the third, and then you ignore it and she steps out, then I can see, you know, and vice versa. If same thing with the husband, hey, listen, I done seen some things on TV. I want to try them. We getting dry in the bedroom. Let's do something. She's still like, yeah. And
then he's going to be tempted to go try that.
Right. He going to go try it. So, yeah.
And then even though he's wrong, you kind of, I know this is, I'm going to tread lightly. You kind of failed him as far as his partner because he came to you wanting this. And you said no. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He was still wrong. I'm not going to, you know, absolve him of his errors, but it's kind of felt like, yo, he came to you.
Right.
You're the person, you know what I'm saying? Like, married men are always saying, like, yo, when they want to try something and their wife ignore, you got to be like, yo, for lack of a better word, I signed a contract with you to try these things with you.
Right.
Yeah,
You know
and
what
you
I'm saying?
only.
At least
You
try.
only. And that, you know, I'm trying my best to not be a thought no more. And I'm coming to you.
At least
I wanted you
try.
to answer because you get a chance to answer the ego. Like, what's easier to repair, ego or trust?
It's easier to repair an ego. I feel like trust is very hard to repair. Not saying you cannot repair it, but it's very hard, especially with the circumstances that may have caused the break in the trust. I'm a firm believer that there's 95% of a situation can be repairable. 95. You got that 5% where you just a low down, dirty, thought bopping, whatever. You just disgusting and nasty. That's the 5% that it's like you can't come back from.
Right.
But if there's something like, you know, all right, I'm ignoring my husband, I'm not paying attention to him, you know, he's asking me to do this, that, and the third, and I ignore, and then he goes to Sally. Yeah, I said Sally. And
Not Becky with the good hair, but
Becky
Sally?
with the good hair, not Sally. Because she owns a few, beauty supply stores.
Okay. Okay.
So with Sally, and you having coffee with Sally, and she's starting to spark your interest, that right there is the cause is because you ignored me. I came to you and you ignored me. We have to learn in a relationship that it's a give and take. It's not just, oh, it's what I want, or oh, it's what, you know, I'm willing to give. It's a give and take, and a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
And I feel, I'm going to say this and then I'll move on to the next topic. I feel like a lot of times we make it down, we boil it down to like animalistic, you know, needs as far as like, oh, a man goes out and cheats because he just wants to be a thought, kind of stuff like that. But I also feel like if a man expresses, you know, to his partner, like, look, I want to try these kind of things, or I'm having these kind of things, or these are my needs, and the partner's just like, well, I don't feel like it, this, that, and the other. You have the right to not feel like it, but you also opened up yourself that a person's going to get those needs met somewhere else.
Right. Like, if you don't feel like it right now, like, babe, I'll decline right now, but maybe by tomorrow, like, surprise him as soon as he walking for
And
work.
another thing is, there's no such thing as rollover sex, like rollover minutes. Like, sometimes a woman will say, well, I gave you some 4 days ago. That was 4 days ago.
That's weird to me. I don't get that. I don't get that logic. Like, I don't. Like.
Let me move on to the next topic, right?
Yeah, that's something completely different.
So, and this topic is not necessarily the same, but it kind of falls in line with relationships, and it's called gender roles, right? Because one of the followers of the show inboxed me and was just like, you know, I really want you to discuss gender roles because I know this woman who's like, she makes more money than her partner, which is a new thing because a lot of women, especially if you're married to a woman of color and black women who are the most educated population in this country, and they're not getting better jobs and stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes in the communities, you date people around your communities, and sometimes the women are more employable or have more skills than the man does, so more income comes with that. So anyway, she was just like, she's the breadwinner, she makes more money and stuff like that, but the husband still wants her to come home, cook, clean, do all the housely chores, and he feel like because he's a man, those are not his roles, even though he's not the provider.
What is he doing though while she's at work?
So let me get there.
Like
You know he works, but you know his check doesn't go as far as her check. And for some odd reason, this is not me, but for some odd reason, he still feels like, you know, there's certain things he could do around the house, take out the garbage or maybe cut the lawn kind of thing like that. But like the cooking, cleaning, the quote unquote old school, this is what a woman should be doing kind of things, he don't feel like he should have to help because he's a man. And even though she's more of the breadwinner, he feels like those kind of roles need to be stuck to. So listen, let me just finish before y'all.
No.
I got
You see me out here.
Let me get to the question. Let me get to the question.
I'm not going to bash this.
No.
I'm just looking at all of our faces. We're like this.
Yeah.
Like,
So I just want to, the first sub question of that, is there such a thing as gender roles? And Amanda, I'll let you start.
Okay, because I was going to.
Because I feel like you was ready to chop my head off.
No,
So
I wasn't
let me
ready
let you air it out.
I wasn't going to chop off your head. I just wanted to know what he was doing while she's out making the bread. But I want the ladies to go.
He's a
first.
working
Go
person
ahead.
too. It's just that her check is larger. Like for instance, I think in this particular situation, the woman was a nurse, and the man had he had a regular job. It wasn't nothing. I don't want to. He probably makes 40 grand, like, you know, a modest job, nothing crazy. But her as a nurse, you know, she makes more income and then stuff like that. So go ahead.
Okay. I grew up in a household where, you know, my dad's Cuban and he, you know, to the core, like the gender roles were played in that aspect. And I saw my mom work, make a 6-figure salary, cook, clean, take care of us and all that stuff. And I see my dad doing the same. I'm not sure who made more. I didn't care. But my dad, you know, he worked hard and he came home and he took out the trash and a couple of things and killed a spare rat that come into the house. Yeah. But like, you know, I feel, I don't think that gender roles is relevant now. I feel like
I think teamwork make the dream work.
Teamwork, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Teamwork.
But man, like it goes back to the egos kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? A man will feel like, well, I'm a man. I need my woman to cook, clean, and do such and such because we were taught. We were taught that kind of thing, or we kind of look to those ideologies because that's what we were traditionally taught.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I grew up like I'm an '80s baby, so I was like I grew up in the era where things were changing. So I grew up with the traditional saying of woman in the kitchen, a man in the office. But my lifestyle, the life that I've been and seen and witnessed, it's not really like that. That's just how I was raised to believe. But no, through personal experience, I've been in the relationship where we both worked. I made less money. And honestly, that relationship was kind of annoying for me because of his ego. It would be one of those, I'm great for going half on the bills and stuff, but when it came down to shopping, getting the shoes, the hair and nails, he covered that. But it was how he wanted it. Me, I like crazy nails. I like colorless. He liked the French tip. I hated my nails all the time. But they stayed done. So it was...
Oh, because he's paying, he gets to control the style?
Hairstyle, clothes. So I got tired of that. You know? But I'm still a hard worker. But I was just like, I'm not going to deal with that. I can still pay for my own stuff and just pay for my own means and my own bills and instead of paying for two. Then the follow-up relationship, I was the breadwinner. Period. Like he helped in no way, shape, or form. Plus, I cooked and I cleaned and all that other stuff.
So when you say he helped in no way, shape, or form, not only were you bringing home the bacon, but you were slicing it up, distributing it, and make sure it was clean.
What was he doing? The whole tablecloth for everything.
What was he doing the whole time?
Was he Tyrone just laying the pipe down, and that's why
GTA Live the whole time? By the time I would leave the house and come home, he was GTA.
So just Grand Theft Auto. That's it.
That's it. That and maybe some Call of Duty,
How long did that relationship last, if I can ask?
Okay, so before I say that, I'm a very loyal girl. I was not loyal to this person. I ended up stopping.
Yeah, because he didn't give you a right to really respect him. Not to be rude, but if you, I feel like this. If you make a woman feel like your need is not there, then because women are loyal, she'll hold on to you for longer than you should, but you don't hold her heart anymore.
Yeah, no. It was one of those. I'm one of those. Once I'm in it, I try to be in it for a long haul. So I kind of allowed it to go on longer than it should have. But
I think we all been there.
yeah, we've all been there. But it was like maybe 2 good years. I'm not even lying. It was
Wow,
2
2
good
years.
years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Right, but it was one of those, the way I met him, we had a deal. It was like, okay, you go to college or whatever. I was a little older. My time has came and gone. I'm in my business now. I'm doing this. I'm already making, my money or whatever. You go to college, you do your thing, whatever. I got your back. That 2 years came and left, ended up dropping out of school. I'm like, okay.
Oh, my God.
You're not following through here. So
You must have had some powerful penis.
No.
No?
Just loyal, just having
was-
a thought of a
this was
dream,
me
and you was
being-
trying to stick to the dream, and it didn't work out.
I'm thinking, even with that, the bedroom stuff, I tried to do the teaching and, no, do this, do that, but
Damn.
it didn't.
She said she was older. How much older?
9 years.
Damn.
So
So
I'm thinking-
not for excuse, but I understand what comes with that.
I was 9 years older, but
Because I'm in a cougar situation as well.
but but you would
really?
think the bedroom was great. It was horrible, and that was the thing. Like, okay, at some point I was like, okay, what am I even in this for?
Word.
I'm not.
I think you was a foster mom on the low.
Word.
Over
No,
then.
you know what it was? I got so set in my way because I stopped being loyal, like being faithful and stuff. I was dipping, finding, I had a whole
Stop bopping.
2-year relationship in that relationship with someone else.
She was in the
who-
Matrix. She had a relationship within the
Right.
relationship.
That is the Matrix.
That was the one relationship I could say I was able to have some fun through the relationship because I was with someone, tried to keep up my side of the bargain. It just wasn't working out on their part, and I kind of got set in the way. It was kind of like I was single in a relationship. So I took advantage of the end of it. Like, why not? Why not?
So what about you, Amanda?
For me, I'm all about togetherness. So I feel like
So there's no such thing as a gender role.
there's no such thing as a gender role. I'm a chef as well.
Yes.
So I'm in the kitchen all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm in a relationship and make sure I cook for him and stuff like that. But like laundry, let's go to laundromat together. I make an adventure out of anything. So we can go to laundromat, go chill, have a good time and stuff like that. Fold the clothes together, wash clothes together. But I like to cook for my man, so I would take that part over.
Okay.
Well, not my man, but
So like to me,
a man.
gender roles. I don't believe there's gender roles, but I believe that let's operating on our strengths and weaknesses. Maybe your strengths might be things that are traditionally considered woman-based activities, and maybe my strength may be traditionally men-based activities. You
Okay.
know? I work in finances, so even though for the majority of my relationship, my wife made more money than me, I kind of still operated like what can we afford to do, what we can't afford to do kind of thing, break down the numbers, the number analysis and stuff like that, because that was my strength. But I also understood, like, if you as a man, if you deal with a woman who makes more money than you, you kind of watch the bass in your voice too. You know what I'm saying? Because with money comes power. With money comes more strength in situations. Like, I never felt like I lost, quote unquote, my ego kind of thing. But I also kind of understood, like, yo, this person makes more money than me. So maybe she want to spend money on something that I don't agree on. But at the end of the day, are our bills still being paid? Yes. Are we still saving? Yes. So if she want to splurge on something, I can't really tell her not to splurge on that.
I have a question for you though, and even for you ladies, for everybody. So if a woman makes more money, should they split the bills down the middle, or should it be?
And it's funny. Shout out to Devorah Walker, who's a friend of mine. She has a podcast as well. She always says,
Hey, Devorah.
She always says this: the man should pay the rent. She don't care who's making what. She feels like the man should pay the rent, which is the biggest bill kind of thing.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like this. How does it work, right? Let me just give examples. The woman makes $120,000. The man makes $80,000, right? But he's paying the mortgage, which is the bulk and stuff like that. So if he's paying the mortgage and they're not doing it in a proportion based on the money that's coming in, you're going to have your partner sinking while you're flourishing, and you think that everything's okay, but a resentment is being built. You got to operate it to the point where everybody can contribute a part that they feel comfortable with and that they're
Communication.
able to sustain.
Right.
So to be honest with you, if I was making, let's say, $300,000, right, and my wife was making $100,000, but our bills was just so reasonable that I could cover it and still play. As a man, I'd be like, whatever, save your money, build towards our retirement, start trying to buy our retirement home. I'll take all the bills so that we're kind of.
What if you're making the 100,000 and she's making the 300,000?
Then I think logically we should proportion the bills. Like, okay, you know what? Maybe because you have the bigger check, you'll pay 75% of the mortgage. I'll pay 25%, but then I'll handle the groceries and the utilities, kind of stuff like that.
How do you ladies feel about that?
I think that makes sense. You have to think what's in the means of what your pay is. You know, because, I mean, I grew up in a household where my father paid the mortgage, and whatever he wanted to do after that, that was on him, and my mom paid utilities. I was taught that the man is supposed to provide and pay the mortgage or rent or whatever. But nowadays, because the way everything is we're just in a different time. So now we have to, like, talk with our partner. All right, you making $100,000? How much can you afford? You can afford giving me $1,000 a month? I'll take the $1,000 a month. Like, let's just work to whatever both of you agree upon.
Because I feel like if you leave the one person to feel like they're drowning and the other person is just flourishing, maybe a man's ego will be like, you know, I'm good. I take care of the bills and stuff like that. But he is drowning. In the back of the mind, he's looking at you like, you selfish. But his ego might not allow you to tell you that. But that's how he feel inside. And then y'all have problems and you like, I don't understand why we have problems. You know, we're not broke. You don't feel broke because you flourishing with your money. With him, he's hiding debt, just trying to keep you happy kind of thing.
But that's not like building together. That's you being selfish and you building for yourself. I was always told, well, I don't have children, but I was always told your man and your children are a representation of yourself and vice versa. Right. So if I'm walking outside looking like $1 million, and my man's looking like $2, I'm still $2.
Yeah.
Even the same thing with the bills. If the bills this month is $5,000, it's more like, let's just cover it. Who got what? Let's just, you know, and then we'll do the savings together. That's building together.
And then also, I feel like, you know, there's seasons. There's going to be times where I'm making more money and you making less. Let's move accordingly. And there's going to be times where I'm stuck and you're in a better place. Move accordingly kind of thing. Right. But have that conversation so that we don't individually feel like, yo, I'm sinking, but my partner is just flourishing kind of thing.
Can't see in relationships that the peace of mind thing, you can't let your partner sink, all that applies. It's literally like you have to go into it like intertwined, like with everything. You got to connect on every levels, even financial, sexual, communication, everything. Even with the whole parents, you have mingling dads and mingling moms. And if you're dating a daddy's little girl or a mama's boy, that can create problems as well. And
that's the baggage we carry in relationship. So I want to ask one last question so we can, because we're short in time, and I want to cover our next topic. So this question is, what is the role of the man / father or the role of the woman / mother? Like, do we still have those traditional roles when it comes to parenting as well? Or have we moved on from that?
Well, I think with parenting, like I don't have children, but, you know, I have nieces and nephews and godchildren, and I've been around watching their parents raise them and things like that. Children are individuals. Like I've watched parents try to turn their children into this or that. I feel like when it comes to parenting, you need to meet your child's needs in that sense. Meaning, if you have a son who's having issues in school and he's acting out, don't just like, first of all, that live, embarrassing kids live, don't do that. Talk to your children, do what you got to do to get them through that problem at school. Don't go up in there embarrassing them. To me, that's not parenting. That's just being an a-hole or whatever. Even like find out your kid smokes weed or something like that, just to go off the handle, you know, oh my God, you know, no, okay, where'd you get the weed from? Why you smoke weed? You stressed out, you know, whatever. So I just think, just be there for your kids. There's not really, because all kids are different, just like adults. They grow up into that different adult. So you just got to be able to connect with them. That way you can teach them and show them the way they need to be taught and shown without forcing things. Yeah.
What about you, Alyssa?
The role of the mother and the father are needed in a child together. Not necessarily they have to be together in a relationship, but I can't teach my son things that his father should teach him. Meaning like how to be a man. I could I can teach I don't have kids, by the way, but I could teach, you know, my son, for example, you know, hold the door open for a woman. This is how you treat a woman, things like that. And then his father can teach him, all right, this is what you're supposed to do, you know, this is how you change your tire. This is how you're supposed to, you know, be a man and stand up for yourself and stand up for your family. Both roles are needed, especially in a woman's life. The father plays a major part.
And how you accept, you know, certain actions from men.
Yes.
I feel like this. I feel like, you know, it's not a mother's role to necessarily teach the kids, like, oh, the mother got to teach all the kids how to clean and stuff like that. I always feel the strengths. But at the same time, I feel like a mother should teach a man how to treat a woman.
Right.
A man should teach his daughter what she should expect from him, so that we could have healthy relationships outside of the home.
Yes.
Like, what drove me, like, my father wasn't, God bless the dead, my father, I didn't see him play the most perfect role, but he was always a provider. He always is like, no matter what, our needs were met, bills were met, and stuff like that. And he taught us, like, hard work. Right, so I always feel like, yo, I have to work. I have to be able to say myself, like, I'll be broke, but make sure everything is cool, than to, like, get something luxurious and then worrying about how I have to pay that kind of bill.
Right.
So you have anything to add?
I agree with the whole panel right now. I mean, you know, I have twin boys. They're 10. I'm a single mom, so I can only teach them but so much. You know, how to treat a woman and stuff like that, and they see how I treat them. So, I mean, both roles are very important, and I can't teach them how to be men. I can teach them how to be great, but, you know.
Not necessarily men. And I think a lot of things that single parents versus single mothers or single fathers, I think the key thing is to not carry your bitterness towards the partner and transfer it to your child. Yeah, because a lot of times, like, a single mother or even a single father would you know, express how ain't shit the person is, and now that kind of affects, you know, the kid's perspective. Right. You know what I'm saying? So the kid either could fear that I don't want to be ain't shit like my father,
right,
or kind of feel like, well, women are gonna think I ain't shit anyway, so why should I even kill myself, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So the last topic is going to be sex and love, right?
Sex.
And the thing is, like, you know, obviously we don't need both of them to exist, right? And, you know, you could have sex without having love, and vice versa. Sometimes you're in love and you're not having sex, which is the problem that we're going to discuss real quick. So, is the relationship beyond repair when the sex dies?
Well, the bad relationship could be why the sex died. Because you're just not getting along with each other, then you don't want to sleep in the same bed with each other. I don't know. I'm very 50-50 about stuff. You shouldn't really let it die. Like, if the guy feels like you're not doing this, just try something. And vice versa, the girl feels like, just try something. If at that point there's nothing there, then that's where you would just basically move on. Sex is needed.
Sex plays a major role in a relationship. I mean, I've been married before, Lord, but I've been in a relationship where love transcended the sex up to a certain point, though. Yeah. It didn't really, like, the love didn't matter. If I wasn't getting it, or if he wasn't getting it, yeah, he's going to look elsewhere. He's going to go elsewhere because I'm not giving him one of the most essential things in a relationship. Sex is very important. And if you're not giving it up, you might as well give up the relationship, and that's just the bottom line. So,
is relationship beyond repair when the sex dies?
I believe it's repairable. One thing, though, I do agree with the sex part, but at the same time, after sex, what do you have? Like, you have to have something else. You can't just rely on that sex. I mean, we all want that sex, but when the sex dies, it's like, all right, so now let's start getting to the things that made us compatible in the first place. And let's start doing, I feel like activities would get you to want to be more sexual. Sometimes I feel in relationships, people get comfortable. You don't do the things that you used to do anymore. Therefore, she don't want to fuck you. So
exactly. So you're not doing anything to make her wet. So why is she going to?
You know what it is? It's that puppy phase. People, when you leave that phase, people forget to still keep the flame alive.
You have to keep that flame alive because that flame is what gets her, gets me going at least. I don't know about everybody else, but
if my opinion on that is like, is the relationship beyond repair when the sex dies? No, but it's in a coma. You know what I'm saying? It's on a lifeline, and I feel like we have to find ways to recreate ourselves sexually. Like when you're in a long-term relationship, you know, I've been in a relationship for 10 years. And you're going to go through peaks and valleys of sexual activity and stuff like that. But I also feel like it's a blend of appreciating each other and understand that when someone appreciates all kind of aspects of you, they don't lose interest in the sex.
Right.
So whether you feel up to it or not, the frequency always changes. There's bunny stages, and then there's tortoise, slow,
Bunny
never happening kind of
stages.
stuff like that. But I feel like we have to have the blend of, right? Because one of the sexual languages and confirmation that we're good is sex. We don't have to have sex all the time, but knowing that we're good, we just finished having, you know, a nice moment and stuff like that. Sometimes sex is the nice reward of these
But that's
moments.
why I said go on those dates, still do those things that you
Yeah,
do.
do the
And
intimacy.
you get the juices flowing
Right.
that way. That's it.
So now I'm gonna ask a completely, you know, out of the box kind of question. But can opening up the relationship take the love away?
Opening.
You mean an open
How?
relationship
Opening
or
up the relationship,
Ooh,
bringing
I'ma
someone
like
into
this
it.
one.
For me, hell no. That dick is mine. Once I hit it, it's my dick,
That's it. Hello.
and you ain't hitting nobody else.
Ain't hitting nothing.
I'm never bringing somebody
Is that the
else.
consensus? You know,
I'ma
men
let her
ego.
take-
Okay.
Well, I'm a bisexual female, so I'm
Oh.
gonna let her. I'm gonna let
I
them
should
answer
have
that
asked these
first.
questions earlier to ask more spicy questions.
I'm just
ahead.
saying,
Go
nobody's
ahead.
sharing my guy.
And I do agree with you. I'm a very possessive person, and I'm not trying to have somebody come up in the relationship try to do all the acrobats and wheelbarrows and cartwheels and stuff like that maybe I can't do. And then you bring somebody else in the relationship that can do all these things plus more. No, like my man is mine.
Is mine.
Yeah.
Mine.
Is mine.
So this is the
My man.
I'll be
My
fronting
man.
if I be like, because every time I talk about the open relationships, so selfishly I think of, as a man, my woman said, "Hey, let's bring another woman to the room," because of when she's like, "Let's bring another
But wait.
dude," that shit. I'm gonna let you answer. That shuts it down. But I say this: if a man, my advice to men, if you're able to pull that off and have your woman pull another woman in, she is the captain of that ship. Do not bring in someone that's going to make her feel uncomfortable. Let her choose that person. Also, I don't care how you feel about it. You can't pay more attention to the new person than your spouse.
yes.
Your spouse has to be the entree, and that person has to be the mashed potatoes on the side. You know what I'm saying? The little
Spouse
spicy
is
stuff
the
like that.
steak.
When you bug out and
biscuit.
start paying attention to the other person, you created problems that you don't need.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
just say this?
Yes.
I'm going to shut that whole threesome shit down.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to shut this shit down.
Okay.
All right. So, would you mind if your woman wanted to bring a man in the bedroom?
No, I told you that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
But I was honest about that.
know.
I was honest about that.
You
I'll
can't.
shut
you
it down. There you
so-
go.
Okay.
So,
All right, let me speak now. Well, when it comes to the willingness of the bedroom, if you're willing to open your bedroom for your pleasures, you have to be willing to let your woman open her
Exactly.
bedroom for her pleasures. But see, me, I'm a bisexual female.
Yes.
I like to date men. I like to play with women.
oh, that sounds kinky.
But to be honest with you, men are more comfortable with that. So this is my thing, and this is being sexist, I guess. But it's just like, as a man, I feel like, you know, I feel all women appreciate other women. So it's easier to have that dynamic. I don't look at no dude and be like, you know what? I kind of like his arms. Let him come in the bedroom with me. No, I don't appreciate
Okay,
nothing.
but what if a woman wanted double penetration?
It's not going to
You
happen,
don't have
Catherine.
to touch him.
I've been in double penetration situations,
Oh,
but
really?
it's not with my
Not with
wife.
his woman.
But it
Not
wasn't
with
my
his woman.
wife.
But
You know
okay,
what I'm saying?
listen, I'm a bisexual woman, and
That's
I'm
for that
engaged.
fun stuff. That's not in a relationship. Go ahead.
I'm currently engaged to be married.
Okay.
Ooh, congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. Okay, so here's my thing. Me, I'm very much a believer that sex is overrated. Like people who jump through loops, oh my God, my man cheated, oh my God, I'm gonna kill myself. To me, that's just too much. It's overrated, you know, whatever. Things happen, you know, the trust, yes. That could be tarnished in that. But me, I'm more like this or whatever with my guy. You don't gotta cheat. You don't have to. But if there's a lady you're attracted to, and I get the allowing your woman to bring the girl in the bedroom, but she might bring someone that he's not attracted to. So it still becomes one of those, I'm having a good time, but now he's still not.
I gotta watch and have fun
So
and watch
it has to be 50-50. If he's
Now
letting
you can't bring young M.A. into our bedroom.
No, hell no. No, well,
You know what
then
I'm saying?
that's
Well, she's kind of cute.
well, I'm not into
Young
it.
M.A. Young M.A.
I like feminine
She all right
girls.
in
Yeah.
a dude kind of way.
Right. That's still, to me, that's still like a boy.
She's cute.
Yeah.
She cute.
But
I think she's
No,
cute.
don't get it twisted. I think young M.A. is not a bad looking woman,
No,
but
young M.A. is cute as
she's
hell,
an
but
aggressive, and I don't need an aggressive
I'm
in my
personally
bedroom.
not into aggressive women. I like the feminine, the girly girl. I'm a girly girl myself, so I like that. It, smell nice like a lady, feel nice, wear the good lotion and stuff like that. So I'm more into that. But if my man is willing to open the bedroom for my pleasures, I'm willing to open the bedroom for his pleasures.
Yeah, you could switch out. So I definitely get that. There's no dude in the situation. It just is. I mean,
That's really messed up. That's like a double standard.
It is a
With
double
me-
standard.
With me,
It is a
I'm
double standard.
just, when I'm with a guy, I'm solely attracted to him. Like,
Yeah.
for my dude, I'm so attracted to him. I don't want no other guy.
That's how I am. When I'm really attracted to somebody, and I want that one person. I'm
Yeah,
just totally
that's
into
it.
that.
I just
Yeah.
want him. But I like my last relationship, like I said, I was having a good old time.
Yeah.
I was going to say it that way.
So let me ask this one last question, and then we'll end up the show. Can good sex make up for fading love?
No.
I think good sex is a Band-Aid, but once that fading love is gone, it's just going to
It's
be
just
like
lust.
it's tough, right? Because the worst thing you can be with someone that you despise, but the sex is good, right? Because good sex may be an hour that happens maybe once every other day, once every other 3 days and stuff like that. So how you feeling for the rest of the time? You know what I'm saying?
That's comfort sex. That's like a person sleeping with an ex because they're available and
My
they need to get
vagina
one
is not
off
gonna
real
work.
quick.
Really?
It won't.
If you stop loving the person,
If
the
I stop
vagina,
loving you, my vagina is shut down.
and you know that
Whole closed.
that is something that that's something that
river will
married
stop.
people go through, like when they're not really feeling each other, but they feel like they want to just continue to have sex because it's a need. That person
No,
not
I don't need
getting
it
wet
that
down
much.
there. It's not a fun situation.
That's still a good way to cheat, though, because intimacy, outside of sex, you still need to be intimate with each other. You have to
Yeah.
have those conversations, those laughs, those giggles. You have to have all that stuff.
Yeah, all that
Intimacy
stuff
is a
contributes to a
different-
wet
yeah.
vagina.
Absolutely.
So what about you? Can good sex make up for fading love?
No, like if I don't love you, that's it. If I'm
I mean, let's keep it 100. We all have made love to people we don't love.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
but for how long can you continue that cycle?
I haven't made, like, I'm not gonna make, you'll know if I make love to you or not. You understand? So now it's me just having sex with you, and I can have sex with, I can take away the emotion and just have sex with you just because I just want to get my rocks off, and then that's it, and then you're done, and I'll move on to.
He can go home.
You can go home,
Yeah.
and then I'll go on with my life.
Your Uber's on the
But
way.
that's not gonna okay, hello. But that's not gonna happen. But for so long, like it doesn't repair fading love. Sex is not intimacy. It's not the base of intimacy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a part
So
of it.
if the
but it's not a
relationship
base.
is on a flat line, and just because you could give good sex, that relationship's still gonna
It's a done deal.
die.
I'm done.
Yeah, you got some people that don't want to deal with each other, but still don't want to see you with anyone
Anyone
else.
else.
Yeah, that's
So y'all
selfishness.
give it to each other, but still roll your eyes. Won't cook nobody a sandwich or breakfast in the morning.
Yeah.
Sandwich.
Your fried chicken be raw when they. I
Be raw
cook.
in a
Yeah.
Like before you used to get the wet rag, and now you just like it's over there,
It's over
motherfucker.
there.
Right, like just get
Go
up
clean
and get
yourself
a
up.
shower and
The
leave
wet,
that person
warm
there.
rag.
Wet,
Okay,
warm
not
rag.
just the wet rag.
Now just make it ice
No soap
cold.
on it,
Throw
no
it
Now
right
you're
at
lucky
it.
if you could get a baby wipe. You know what I mean? The game change.
Right off
You
the
better go get that
shower.
sock off the floor.
Thank you so much, ladies, for coming through. That's the end of our
Thank you
show.
for having
having
us.
us.
And I really appreciate you coming through. It was a very fun conversation. I want
Very
to have you
fun.
guys
Very
back
fun.
again.
Yes.
Also, when we have the full team, because Sensei and Cliff, they speak spicy, so they would have brought out some
Oh, they
spicy
would've
stuff.
brought out some
So
spice.
we'll definitely have you guys back. So before we end up, I want to give you guys again a chance to shout out what y'all got going on,
Yes.
and then we can end out the show.
Go ahead, listen.
Oh well, I'm looking at you like. So I mean, we are the Realist Radio Show, and you can catch us on Thursdays from 9 to 11. We are on the Pregame Radio Network. You can catch our episodes on pregameradio.net. The website is fire. You get to learn about us and things like that at the Realist Radio Show on Instagram, the Realist Radio Show on Facebook, at the Realist Radio Show on Twitter.
Y'all better follow.
You better
Yes.
follow.
Mhm.
I'm Alyssa Noriega.
I'm Tasha Nicole Wright, the other half of the Realist Radio.
My
I'm
half.
also part owner of Emmy Productions, a production company which basically does photography, video, all that other stuff. You can find my company on Facebook, Emmy Productions with a Z. But you can also look me up under Tasha Nicole Wright under everything. Anything social media. If you find me on Snapchat, I will not respond because I don't know how to get into the 2 accounts that I opened. But everywhere else, you're good. Tasha Nicole Wright.
Dope. That's dope.
I didn't give my handle, so I'm sorry. I'm a Pocahontas head. So Instagram. On Instagram, I'm Pocahontas_531. And on Twitter, I'm Pocahontas with 2 A's _531. And then my name, Alyssa Noriega, on Facebook. So.
Yes, that's dope.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say, continue to support our guests, support us, Views from the Friend Zone, those who came to meet us because you guys are followers of these young ladies. Stay tuned, continue to follow us. We're Views at the Friend Zone at Instagram, on Facebook. We're facebook.com/Views from the Friend Zone. I want to say something real quick. I just want to say, we've been touched by the loss of, Triple X Extension and Junior and stuff like that. And I just want to say, we need to slow down and really take time to build our communities and build places where, people have places to go, be mentors for people and stuff like that. Because we're literally killing ourselves over nothing.
Absolutely
losing
nothing.
young lives over nothing before they get a chance to become anything.
We're losing our future.
And I feel a lot of times it's happening because of boredom. Kids don't have places to go. Kids don't have interests, and they create jealousies because they don't build a future for themselves. So if you can go out there, mentor young kids, give them example, and continue to strive to build our community because we're being viewed as savages from people outside of our community, and if we could continue to do these things, we're not proving them wrong.
Right.
And like I always say, chase your legacy and not liabilities, and we out. Peace.